Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we're finally going to do my GW28 team selection video. So I actually plan to release a team selection video slightly earlier and not just one day in advance, but this time I couldn't because I just couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And based on the latest results of the FA Cup as well, we now know that there is an extra game now in Game Week 30 as well, and that kind of changes the dynamics of how I planned my chip strategy for the next few game weeks. So because of that, I kind of needed to sit down and plan my team and my strategy properly, and that's why I finally now can come to a decision. And just a bit of a spoiler, I'm not using my wildcard in Game Week 28 anymore. Yes, it took me a while to come to this decision, but I no longer am going to use my wildcard in Game Week 28. But for those of you who are wildcarding in Game Week 28, I do have something planned for you later on in this video where I will show two drafts, which are actually the drafts that I came up with because I intended to wildcard, as you guys know. So I think these drafts will kind of help you because it is also the most updated drafts. And yeah, I think it will give you guys some inspiration as well. So yeah, something for the wildcarders as well. But I'll just move on with my team selection. And before I just get into this video, I hope you guys help me out and give it a like. I just want to thank you guys as well for helping me to hit 500 subscribers. We smashed it, and we actually are so close to 600 now. So it's possible to maybe even hit 600 subscribers before Game Week 28. So if you guys can help me do that, that would be great. But let's move on to our Game Week 28 team selection video. And first, I'll be talking about how I did for Game Week 27. So as you guys can see on the screen right now, 64 points for my free hit that I played. I think in terms of all the free hitters and the scores that we got for Game Week 27, I think 64 points wasn't too bad. Most of us kind of got disappointed by the Burnley triple up that we all did. Most of the free hitters all tripled up on Burnley assets basically, so yeah, we all got disappointed there. Kane and Son obviously coming up with the goods. I was pretty happy that I opted to go for a double CT defense with Cancelo and Laporte, because it turns out that Mahrez, Sterling, and De Bruyne, they all blanked. So thankfully, Laporte, he actually got one bonus point as well, which is really really nice. So overall my score is 64 points. I improved my rank from about 100k to now 82k. So yeah, I guess attacking last week kind of paid off. But let's see my strategy for the future game weeks, which I will share with you guys now, and also that will kind of shape how I do my transfers for this week. Alright, so before I move on to the team selection, it's important that I update you guys on the blank game week 30 confirmed fixtures, because this actually shapes how I planned my chip strategy, which I will share right after this. So previously we already knew that Wolves, Leeds, Aston Villa, Arsenal, and Leicester and Brentford were all going to happen in game week 30, because all these teams are either out of the FA Cup or they just don't have fixtures in that blank game week 30 that will clash, and therefore they can play the Premier League fixtures. So apart from these three fixtures that we already knew were going to happen, because of the recent events in FA Cup where Tottenham lost to Middlesbrough by 1-0 in extra time, which was a bit shocking by the way, but we will get onto that later. But basically what this means for us is that Tottenham is no longer in the FA Cup. And as for West Ham as well, they lost to Southampton by 2-0. And what this means is that both teams are now able to play in Game Week 30, and that's why they are now part of the blank Game Week 30 fixtures. So on the screen right now are the 4 finalized and confirmed fixtures for Game Week 30, and as you guys can see, Tottenham is in there. So previously I decided that I wanted to wildcard because most of my Game Week 30 players were not playing fixtures at all. But now that Tottenham is playing, I do have 3 Tottenham players in my team. So Ben Davies, I do have Hugo Lloris as well, and Heung-min Son. So 3 of them now have blank Game Week 30 fixtures. So essentially, because of that FA Cup result, I gained 3 extra players in Game Week 30. So because of that, I probably do not have to free hit in Game Week 30 with my team just as it is. So because of that, one of the factors that made me want to wildcard in Game Week 28 as well is that I can then set up for a blank game week 30 team that does not need to use the free hit. But now, if my existing team already is able to tide through blank game week 30, then I'm just going to stick with this team, and then I'm going to wildcard in game week 31 instead. So this brings me on to my updated chip strategy. So as you guys know, I triple captained Salah in game week 26. I free hitted in game week 27. I just showed you guys at the start, and then in game week 28 and 29 and 30, I'm not going to use any chips. In game week 30, though it's the big blank, I just talked about it, and I will show you guys how I'm going to navigate game week 30 without using a free hit. And then I intend to wildcard in game week 31 instead to prepare for the fixtures in 32, 33, 34, and 35. And then 33, which we already know is going to either be a blank or a double. Most big teams were blank. So City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, they all have pretty easy fixtures in the FA Cup. So they probably would progress to the semi-finals, which would be in game week 33. And therefore, those key assets would blank. And so probably using a free hit then would make sense. So I'm going to save my second free hit for game week 33. And then in game week 36, which is the big double game week, I will bench boost. So for now, this is how it's looking. And yeah, I will show you guys now how I'm going to line up for game week 28. And also tinker a bit into the future game weeks to show you guys how I will navigate the future game weeks. Alright guys, so on the screen right now is my game week 28 team without the changes made. So I'm going to make the changes now right in front of you guys. And I'm going to take Cancelo out for Reece James. That's going to be my first change. Alright, and I'm going to do another change, which is to take Cornet out for Ward-Prowse. And then my last change would be to take Soufal out for Max Kilman. So essentially what I have right now is a -8 hit that I've taken, and I'm going to set up with a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 double game week players, and these are really strong double game week players. So I've taken a -8 hit, but how I view this -8 is that it allows me to set up for game week 30. Later I'll show you guys. And what that means is that I can save a wild card in game week 28, and I can save a free hit in game week 30. So for me, this -8 is kind of worth it if it's able to save me 2 chips in the coming game weeks. So this is probably how I will line up for game week 28. Barring last minute news, I may change Reece James and take Rudiger instead. But for now, it does seem like I do want Reece James. I think his point cap is a bit higher as well. So and I actually think that with about 5 to 6 days in between the Burnley and Norwich game, a lot of people are saying that he may be rested. But I think with the gap between both games, and also what Tuchel has recently said about how he looks fine after the FA Cup game, then I think it is pretty safe to play Reece James. But of course, there is a risk of rotation, right? Whether he's fit or not, he may be rested for future games, because the Newcastle game is quite close after the Norwich game, and also they have a Champions League game after that. So Reece James is someone to just keep a lookout for. He is a risky pick, but I think for my team, I do want to go for him slightly riskier. But I do think that he could, playing one game, he could score almost the same points as maybe Thiago Silva or Rudiger playing 2 games if they just keep clean sheets, because James could always get attacking returns. So let's move on to the next game week, in game week 29. So as of now, in game week 29, I would have, let me just set up my team right now. So I would probably have a total, I may play Bowen and Antonio in the end, but for now, I'm looking at a total of about 6 double game week players, sorry. So 3 Tottenham double game week players, 1 Arsenal double game week player, and 2 Liverpool double game week players. So I may bring another double game week player in, so that will give me 7. But I would have to consider that this 7th player, if I move on to the next game week 30, will have to allow me to have at least 10 players in this blank game week 30 slot. So essentially, if I put in all my players right now, see, I have 9 players already as is based on my game week 28 transfers. in Game Week 29, if I make a transfer that allows me to have a playing player in Game Week 30, then in Game Week 30, I just need to use that transfer to bring in another playing player in Game Week 30, and I have 11 players for Game Week 30. But I may just set up with 10 players in Game Week 30. I think that's fine as well. The fixtures also don't really scream a lot of goals. So yeah, I'm fine with going with 10 players. So yeah, in essence, I think I'm pretty okay with Game Week 30. And as I said, right, because West Ham and Spurs are now playing in Game Week 30, they're playing each other, of course, then that's why I actually essentially gained 5 blank Game Week 30 players in Lloris, Davies, Son, Bowen, and Antonio. And that's why I think I can save the Game Week 30 free hit in the end. So I'm sure many of you may not be in the position that I'm in, and that's why maybe a wildcard would appeal to you guys. So now I'm going to talk a bit about my thoughts on wildcarding in Game Week 28, and yeah, what some of the drafts that I've come up with kind of look like. Alright, so on the screen right now are some tweets that I've collated, and also some content that people have been posting on Twitter that I think are quite useful as well, and it kind of sets us up nicely into how we should shape our Game Week 28 wildcard team. So I just want to give credits to all these people who have come up with this content. So on the left, the goalkeeper pairing of Ramsdale and Dubravka has been very nicely put up by FPL Olympian, who is a really good source of content on Twitter, so you guys should go and follow him. And also on the right, it's Ben Krellin, the fixture man. You guys already should be following him by now. And of course, he's having a conversation with Let's Talk FPL Andy. And yeah, I'll get into the tweets later on. So first I want to talk a bit about the goalkeeper pairing. So as you guys can see, FPL Olympian has very rightfully pointed out that Dubravka and Ramsdale have a really good rotation pairing in terms of how when Ramsdale doesn't have a really good fixture, Dubravka can just come in. So as you guys can see, Game Week 28 and 29 both are double game weeks for Dubravka, and then later on down the season as well, both of them rotate really nicely, so all pretty much green fixtures or just grey fixtures. So yeah, I think that this rotation pairing, especially since Ramsdale is a little bit more expensive and Dubravka is a little cheaper, it's kind of a good combination to go for, as opposed to Jose Sa and Ramsdale that's slightly more expensive. So moving on to the tweet on the right by Ben Krellin, as you guys can see. So Spurs and West Ham don't blank in Game Week 30. We already know that. I said it at the start of the video. But what is important in this tweet is that Arsenal and Spurs are the only teams who double in Game Week 29 and don't blank in Game Week 30. And also there's a decent chance that they'll both double in Game Week 33 due to Tottenham and Arsenal potentially moving to Game Week 33. So if we are wildcarding in Game Week 28, this is something important for us to consider, that Spurs and Arsenal could have a double game week in Game Week 33. So on top of this, FPL Andy goes on to say, will there be any blanks or doubles likely in Game Week 33? And Ben Krellin says, teams blanking depend on whether the Game Week 33 postponements move to midweek or elsewhere. So Leicester are almost certain to double, so another team that we should take note of that may double in Game Week 33. And as he says again, Tottenham and Arsenal have a good chance of doubling. So they'd be even more likely to double if Saints don't reach the FA Cup semi-finals. So really, these are all important information that we need to take into account. And kind of just to summarize, Dubravka and Ramsdale is the rotation pairing we should go for, and also Spurs and Arsenal assets are some of the assets we should try to load up on or have plans to bring in closer to Game Week 33. And all these information needs to be taken into account if we want to wildcard in Game Week 28. Alright guys, so this is the first draft that I'll be showing you guys, and this draft is for those of you who already intend to use your free hit in Game Week 30. So this draft will allow you to maximize the double Game Week 28 and 29 fixtures. So I've gone for Ramsdale and Dubravka, as I've already explained in the previous segment. They really have a really good rotation pairing. And in defense, I've gone with two Chelsea defenders, Rudiger and James, just to take full advantage of that Burnley and Norwich double game week that Chelsea have. And then I've gone for Livramento and Koeman, budget options, and they both have double game week fixtures, which really could help them to score a lot of clean sheet points. And then in midfield, I've gone for Salah, Rafinha, and Willock. So Salah definitely we want in our team. Willock, he doubles in Game Week 28 and 29, so good option and he's in good form as well. And then Rafinha is slightly more of a punt, but I think he could get a boost with a new manager, so let's see about that. And up front, we have Jimenez, Broja, and Kane. So Kane is the only one there with a single game week, but in Game Week 29, he would double, and I think his chances of scoring against Everton are quite high as well. So we will want Kane in our team. And then I've gone for Jimenez and Broja because they both double, and long term they are good options as well. So on the bench we have Ramsdale, that's our second pairing with Dubravka, and then Trent we definitely want in our team, but we may have to bench him this week because of all the very favourable fixtures we have for all our defenders already. And then we have Saka and Kulusevski. So Saka and Kulusevski kind of add to how in total you can see in our team we have 2 Arsenal players and 2 Spurs players. So moving toward game week 33 where Spurs and Arsenal could double, we can start to add more Spurs and Arsenal assets there. But for now, this is how this draft would line up for game week 28. And then if you guys can see the next game week 29, that's where you have quite a number of doubles as well. So Dubravka, Salah, Willock, Kane, Kulusevski, Saka, Trent, and Ramsdale. So that's 8 double game week players already. So really good maximizing of the game week 29 fixtures as well. But if you take a look at game week 30, that's where you would probably be in trouble because you only have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 players who have fixtures. And I think if you look at the Rafinha one, he's probably probably a tough fixture for him as well. And then basically we don't have much players for game week 30, so you probably would have to navigate game week 30 with a free hit if you go with this team. Alright guys, so this is the next draft, and this draft now allows you to navigate game week 30 without using a free hit, and I'll show you guys later. So as you guys can see, this is how this draft would line up for game week 28. There's Dubravka in goal. Dubravka and Ramsdale are the same pairing as the previous draft. And then I've gone for James, Kilman, and Luka Dean. Alright, then in midfield we have Salah, we have Saka, Willock, and Coutinho. And then up front we have Jimenez, Kane, and Broja. So as you guys can see, quite a number of double game week players as well. Apart from Salah, Saka, and Kane, the rest of them all double. Quite good fixtures as well. And I think this draft actually allows you to take advantage of the Aston Villa double that Coutinho could benefit from as well. So apart from that, most of the players are players that are in the previous draft as well. Just that I've made a few changes, such as Tierney on the bench, and Coutinho and Luka Dean as well, that allow us to navigate game week 30 better. So I'll move on straight to game week 30, and I'll show you guys why you are in a pretty good position before I talk about game week 29. So game week 30, you would have, as you guys can see, Kilman, Luka Dean, Saka, Coutinho, Jimenez, Kane, Kulusevski, Tierney, and Ramsdale. So that's 9 players that you already have. And moving toward game week 30, you have 2 transfers. So you can actually make it such that you have 11 playing players in game week 30. So that's possible as well. And then when we take a look at game week 29, are you able to maximize the double game week there as well? I think this draft actually does allow you to as well. So if we put in all the double game week players, so probably you would play Ramsdale ahead of Dubravka for this one. Let's put in all the double game week players. So I'll just put in all of them right now. And as you guys can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 double game week players in game week 29 as well. So that really allows us to maximize double game week 29 as well. But navigating game week 30 is an option for us as well. So this draft is quite flexible in that sense. And yeah, I guess we can kind of experiment with all these players in the previous draft and in this draft as well. So hopefully it gave you some inspiration as to how to structure your team to take advantage of all the news that we have right now, the double game week 28, double game week 29, blank game week 30, and also the possible blank and double game week 33. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you liked it, do help me out and give it a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, it will mean so much to me, and I will see you guys in another video. All the best for game week 28. Bye bye.